Hey guys, Jeff here with Pisces Pet Emporium, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite skinks, the sandfish skink. Now, you may have guessed why the sandfish skink is called the sandfish skink, and it is because it can swim through the sand like a fish. It has 4 big shovel hands and a very pointy snout that help them kind of swivel through the sand to escape prey in the wild. These are a beautiful species of skink native to North Africa and Southwest Asia. And today we're going to take a quick look at what we need to set up a very basic tank to keep one of these little guys happy and healthy. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is get yourself an appropriate sized terrarium. This is an Exo Terra 12 by 12 by 12 10-gallon tank. This is fit for 1 adult skink. These skinks only get to grow about 6 inches as an adult, so they don't need that much space. They're more about digging. They don't need a lot of vertical height. If you were looking to keep a pair of skinks, I'd recommend a 20-gallon long, and if you're looking to keep a colony or a large group, a 30-gallon should hold up to 8 skinks. The next thing you need to look into is to get the proper lighting. These are diurnal skinks. They need UVB to metabolize calcium to keep their bones nice and strong. What we have here, this is an Exo Terra hood, and inside is an Exo Terra 150 UVB bulb. Desert dwelling lizards typically need more UV than like a rainforest. That's why Exo Terra has the 100, 150, and 200 series of UVB bulbs. 200 being the extreme end, like a Euromastix. This little guy nestles right in the middle, so 150 should be perfect for this size of tank. And I don't know if you can see, but behind here we have a ceramic heater, a nano ceramic heater. That's just going to create a hot spot in the tank, create a gradient so he has a basking spot, and if he gets too hot he can go to the cool side, and if he feels like warming up a little bit he can migrate down to the warm side. Now, since these guys primarily hail from North Africa, they need a rather warm basking spot. You're looking at about 90 to 95 for an ideal basking spot temperature, and the cool side to be about 78 to 80. Now, I love these. This is an infrared thermometer or a temperature gun, and with this you can check the temperature of all 4 corners of the tank to make sure you have a proper gradient and the right temperatures. If you don't have access to an infrared thermometer, I would recommend using an Exo Terra digital thermometer. Place the probe, the hottest spot in the tank, and with that you can measure your basking spot temperature. The probes do not measure ambient temperature. You are measuring the hottest point in that tank. That way you're controlling the warmest spot and you know there will be no injury or burns to your lizard. I highly recommend hooking up your heat source to a thermostat. A thermostat is going to ensure that your skink stays nice and safe. Otherwise they could suffer burns or be too cold through the night. You don't want to use a heat pad for these guys. Like I said, they do like to burrow. If they burrow all the way down to the glass, they can get burned. So stick to using overhead heat sources, whether it be a ceramic heat emitter, a solar glow UVB bulb, or just a regular daylight heat bulb. Now that we've talked about tank size and lighting parameters, let's open the tank up and take a look inside at the decorations. So as you can see, there's not a lot going on here. This is a very basic setup. This skink's a little bit under its ideal weight, so we're trying to bulk him back up in isolation. So we wanted to keep it as simple as possible so he doesn't have any trouble finding his food. We have a little piece of cork bark here, and we have a large porous rock just for some different textures and some stimulation, if you will. And in the bottom left corner you can see a little water dish. Now, you must put heavy objects first before adding your sand. If you put any objects above the sand, like a large rock, remember these guys like to bury and dig in the sand, so they can actually get trapped under the rock if they bury under and the weight shifts and pins them down. So heavy objects first, then sand afterwards. These porous rocks are fantastic because they provide a lot of stimulation. The crickets we feed, they climb in and out, and he uses his long snout to kind of hunt them through the rock. This is a water dish, very simple, very plain. We change it daily, keep the water nice and fresh for him. Now in the wild, sandfish skinks are insectivores, so we feed him a diet of 2-week crickets and waxworms. Those are his 2 favorites. He goes crazy for them. Dust your crickets with a calcium supplement or a multivitamin every other feeding. Now, as far as substrate goes, my personal favorite, without a doubt, is the Exo Terra Riverbed sand. It's a very fine sand, as you can see, so in case of accidental ingestion, they should have no trouble passing, as opposed to the walnut substrate, where the grains are larger and therefore may cause impaction. Also, the Riverbed sand, opposed to the other Exo Terra sand, is actually already rinsed. When you pour it in, you're not going to get a whole ton of dust flying out and whatnot. You might be asking yourself, well, what about humidity? They don't really need any extra humidity. Average house humidity is more than enough. These are a desert dwelling species. The humidity in my place is 40, and that is more than enough to keep this guy happy. And beyond that, there really isn't much else to say about these guys. They're a great starter reptile. They're very easy to care for. The startup cost is relatively minimal compared to other species of skinks like blue tongues, Peters, or even crocodile skinks. They're super fun to watch when they swim through the sand. You would not believe how fast they can just zip under the sand and whoosh, swim away. This was a very brief overview of what you need to get you started. If you have any more in-depth questions about SANDFISH skinks, absolutely hit us up on our Facebook, Pisces Pet Emporium, or just drop a comment below. And thanks for watching.